Sorry, my case is not going to be as exciting as the first two, so a bit more boring on this next complication. All right, so we'll focus on vascular complication with. We don't have the. We'll just wait a couple of minutes for the slides. All right, so this is a 71-year-old lady who had low flow, low gradient AS. She had coronary disease with PCI to the LAD in the past, known as chemocardiomyopathy with an EF of 40 to 45%, diabetes and hypertension. Her presentation was dyspnea on exertion with NYHA class 3. As you can see, based on the height and the weight, she's definitely obese with a BMI of 35. Her obesity is mostly central in the groin area as well. Her EF was 40 to 45%. She did have a valve area of 0.97 with a gradient of 25. So further workup with a DSE did show that she had severe aortic stenosis. Her valve area remained at 0.9 and mean gradient went up to 37. She did have a coronary angiogram with the LAD patent stent and diffuse mild disease and no intervention needed. Just going through her CT measurements, nothing exciting on the annulus itself. The only thing is not much of calcium, but she also had a slightly low coronary height on the left, which is about 9, although the sinuses were in the 26 range. Looking at her peripherals, not much of calcium, and you can see the high bifurcation on the right side. On the left side, the bifurcation is low. There is some tortuosity, but the diameters are pretty much adequate, ranging from 6 to 7, both on the left and the right. And it was mostly, we picked the left side because of the high bifurcation on the right side. So just another image of the bifurcation on the right. So the plan was to go left femoral, right radial, ultrasound guided, with a 26 sapien valve. So good puncture overall, lower third of the femoral head, above the bifurcation, below the inferior epigastric. There is a lateral branch, but overall it looked like it's in a good position. The one thing you can see here struggling with is the perclose. So you can see how the subcutaneous tissue is, and the depth of the femoral artery is kind of giving us a hint that we're probably going to be dealing with a perclose failure. So had to use a stiff wire to get the perclose up. But as you can see with both the dilator and the sheath and the subsequent cine, that is actually going smoothly. So once you're inside the artery, you're fine. So deployment was fine. So this was we knew that the left coronary height was a bit of a borderline, but overall did well. So deployment and the valve itself afterwards, and then a non-selective image in the next slide of the left main, which was patent. So 2 percloses, both of them failed. And the plan was to, first of all, obviously obtaining good pressure until we figure out the strategy. We had a radial axis, and the plan was to get an idea of what it looks like. Are we dealing with major perforation or what exactly? But it seems like it's the same site where we entered. This is the wire that's from the same side, just external. And the catheter down here shows the perforations actually at the site of the arteriotomy. So with the balloon, tamponade was not enough from the radial, so shifted gears to a femoral approach. Access obtained from the right side, went up and over, exchanged wires to Amplatz exostiff. Tried the balloon again with a 6 millimeter, both for dry closure, putting in another perclose. Obviously, it's not working at this point. And then also at the site, but we know that it won't seal given the size of it. Gave it a couple of minutes, rechecked, and it's still the same. So at this point, went up and over again with the same axis with a balloon expandable covered stent. It's a 7x38 atrium, which is the same as ICAST. And the measurement here is extremely crucial because you need to make sure that you're completely well-sized. And the CT will give you those parameters ahead of time. So make sure you have them listed somewhere in case you need a covered stent. So right after the stent deployment, you can see that perforation completely sealed, and we've maintained good flow distally as well. She remained hemodynamically stable, hemoglobin stable, no transfusion needed. Her echo overall showed good parameters after valve deployment, and she was discharged home 1 day after TAVI. So it's just a way that we should be all comfortable with covered stents if we need to in these cases.
Thank you very much.